Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first episode of Candid Conversations. We're so glad that you can join us today on this snowy Wednesday. I'm your host, April Williams, Outreach Manager for the Governor's Office of Minority Affairs. So glad that you decided to join us today on our launch show. This new show is geared towards small, minority, and women-owned businesses, as well as industry advocates. It is our hope that this show will be a valuable tool for each of you. To join our conversation today, you can do so right on the Google Plus platform, or we would love for you to join us on Twitter at MDGOMA, or you can search us on Facebook by doing Governor's Office of Minority Affairs, using the hashtag Candid Conversations. Now, our guest today is award-winning Principal and Creative Director of Substance 151, a strategic brand communications firm located right here in Baltimore. Ida, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, it looks like the weather cooperated for us, right?
Yes, it was a little scary in the beginning of the day.
Just a little bit. So
it's
we're
nice and sunny.
Nice and sunny now, so we're grateful for that. Let's dive right in. Can you tell us a little bit about Substance 151? And perhaps let's start with the name, Substance 151. What's the origin and meaning behind it?
So Substance 151 is a strategic brand communications firm for evolving brands. Our expertise includes every step in the branding process, from strategy through design, across print and digital, and covering all aspects of marketing communications. As for the name, a lot of times people look at designers as artistic and perhaps somewhat superficial in their stylistic choices. At Substance 151, we practice strategy-based design, and so it was very important for us to communicate that part, hence the first part of the name.
Substance.
Yes, and then we believe that design is more science than art. And the whole idea of scientific discovery and process and use of data and experimentation parallels really well with our way of thinking. So we drew our inspiration from the periodic table. We took the founders' birthdays, anniversaries, other significant days, mixed them up, divided them, and 151 was our magic number.
Love it. I have never heard such a creative way of coming up with the name of the company, and that's a conversation starter, for so many businesses who are looking to build that brand. And talk to me just a little bit about, especially businesses when they're just getting started or maybe they're doing some transitions. Talk a little bit about some of the barriers that they face when they're putting together their strategic marketing plans.
Almost always the main barrier is lack of resources, both human and financial. Small businesses tend to be owned by sellers doers. So the current clients always take precedent over consistent marketing. And if you're in the office all day putting out fires, it kind of takes over. Another part is if they're technical people, they're really good at what they do. They're not necessarily as good at marketing what they do. And so it's what happens is that the lack of a really strong strategic plan and a very strong brand foundation results in people trying to reach for every new and different and the current trend or marketing idea. And so they end up going in every different direction, and that creates a lot of confusion in messaging and communications for the company.
So overreaching. I know that, I get many calls here from business owners, and when we drill down on typically what the issue is, why they haven't won a contract, but they've been certified for 4 years or 5 years, and they're frustrated that they're not able to bring on new clients, usually the reason is because they thought, once I got this MBE certification through the Maryland Department of Transportation, that was it, that the contracts and the business was going to fall from the sky, and they forget that you need to actually put together a strategic marketing plan in order to reach out and find out of where these RFPs or RFQs are coming from. So that definitely makes sense that, they tend to do more or tend to do none. Is that what you typically find?
Yeah, and if you think about it again, if technical people are running companies, when we went to school for design, technology, architecture, engineering, doesn't matter what it is,
Right.
we really were not taught to be entrepreneurs. We were taught to be great architects
Great
and engineers
architects.
and designers. And so yes, and if you work for another firm and somebody else takes care of business development and marketing, you never really think like you realize that projects don't grow on trees, but you don't
Right.
necessarily know the mechanics of what it takes to market your business.
Right. No, that's so true. So, I know one of the things in building effective marketing strategies is how do you really, and now we're drilling down on our main topic today, how do you really cut through all of that online clutter? I mean, you have Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Pinterest and Google Plus and so forth and so on. And then you also have the email platforms as well too, Constant Contact, etc. And how do you do that and still be organic without feeling like you have to have a bullhorn to say, I'm over here, pick me?
So we believe that it all begins with creating a strong, memorable, differentiating brand. And to do that, you really need to think about what it is that's truly different and unique about your business. What do you do not just well, but better than anybody else?
Right.
Not everybody, but a lot of people reach for, we have great people, we have great quality of work, and this is great. It's not that it's not important, but it is
And you need
not,
that.
but it's not differentiating because everybody says that. So with every company, and we experience it with our clients, there's always something very unique about your business, and finding it and being able to communicate it is where really that's the foundation, that's the core from which all of your marketing stems. And then, so that's the first part. The second piece of the puzzle is understanding your audiences really well. And it's not just knowing demographics, it's really understanding what motivates them, what are their pain points, what will cause them to take whatever action you're asking them to take, and also where do they congregate. And this last one is actually critically important to really what you were asking. Today we have almost unlimited number of channels available to us.
Right.
So how do you pick what works? Well, you need to know where your clients are, your prospects are. You could be on Facebook serving the best
Right.
content ever.
But your customers
But if
are
nobody
on
is
Twitter.
there,
Right.
if the room is empty, and you're the presenter, it's kind of a wasted effort. And then the third part is really having that solid strategic marketing plan that outlines your top goals, that points out determines what strategies you will need, what marketing strategies to achieve each of those top goals, and then what tactics will support those strategies. It's very important to prioritize. Think about the big picture, but think about what is achievable in the next 12 months. And then, again, it's taking the brand, it's taking the knowledge of the audience and really picking the communication channels that fit best. Not what everybody else is doing, but what's the best fit for your brand, for your company, for your culture,
Right.
for your audiences, and really for the resources that are available to you. And a good plan should not be 40 pages of marketing jargon. It should be a
Right.
really clear and concise. If you want to write it in bullets, that could be more beneficial because it
More
needs to be
bite-sized
it
pieces.
needs to be a clear roadmap to get you from point A to point B. So we find people spend a lot of time, wordsmithing and perfecting and
Right.
making it sound really smart. That's not what a good strategic plan is about.
I think that's so key because, you can have all this great stuff that you can sell, product or services, and be on the wrong channel promoting hey, we sell the best flowers, but if you are promoting where your customers are not typically, where they typically go get their news or updates or what have you, then you're basically spinning your wheels. And as we both know,
Exactly.
time is so critical for a small business because oftentimes, on several occasions, you are having to wear several hats. So
Almost always.
Almost always, I want to say that is probably true. Now, okay, say you have figured out we've got our strategic plan, we know where our customers are, we have a go, right? So I believe that one of the most key, most integral parts of implementing a marketing plan and sustaining it over time is trust. So how do you build that online trust, with your potential clients or customers?
So one of the things that you absolutely have to make sure that you're authentic, you're transparent. If you're presenting yourself as an expert in a specific market or specific service, you really have to have something to back it up. You also build trust by engaging with your customers. If you have a Facebook page and people comment, you have to make sure you're addressing those comments in a very timely fashion.
So being responsive.
Or the same as with the website, really any media where there's that sense of immediacy and conversation, you need to make sure you're
People expect that
yes.
immediacy. If they post something on your Facebook page, we'll talk about that in a second, but they want to hear that response, and so that too builds trust. That's a very good point.
And it's not even that they do expect. We're all in this immediate gratification society,
Right.
but it's also if people spend the time to engage with you, to talk to you, to whether it's positive or negative feedback, but they took the time to talk to you. Yes, they expect that attention should be rewarded, and the best
Right.
way you can reward it is to reply and engage in the dialogue.
So what are some of the other components other than trust that a really good, long-term sustainable marketing plan should include?
I think content marketing, of course,
Content
is
is
a big, and there's a reason for it. It is probably the most powerful tool in anyone's marketing toolbox. And again, it depends on the type of business you're in, what you're selling, how big you are, and so forth. So you still need to be very careful in selecting how you engage with content marketing. But it helps you position your business and yourself and other experts within your business as experts in what you're selling. So it's no longer me, look at me, I'm selling this. It's just serving great ideas and helpful tips on the subject matter that you're expert at, and engaging your prospects this way and positioning yourself as somebody who really knows what they're talking about. And again, it's important that it's not about creating more noise, because we definitely have enough of that.
We have
so
enough
we don't
noise.
want more clutter. We want to break through the clutter. And so just because we all now have our own little soapbox that we can stand on, it doesn't mean that we really should. So really carefully selecting what you talk about, what channels you use to talk about, and how you talk about it. And it's also, with industries, and especially service industries, which we're a part of and a lot of our clients are a part of, there is no immediate sale. It takes sometimes months, sometimes years. So you need to build that really long-term relationship. And content marketing is great for that. But again, start with the strategy. What's the best fit for your audiences, for your business, for your brand? Next step would be creating messages that would be very consistent to communicate your brand differentiators, but also they need to take into consideration the channel. The conversation you're having on LinkedIn could be very different in tone and style than that on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. So, or website or your print collateral. Print is still not dead. It's still a communication channel. So just being very careful about it, and then sticking with it. Again, have an editorial plan, figure out what you're going to talk about, when, how, and why. And then just make sure it's consistent. Don't go on Twitter 1 week and post every hour on the hour and then forget it for 3 months. It's with social media especially, it's not how it works.
So you mean to tell me that you have to be consistent? Is that what it is?
Yes, it's very important. And again, it goes back to you have to have that commitment to consistent marketing, whatever channels are, whatever strategies are.
Right, and the good thing about, being able to stay committed is that, we have, I've got this iPad, and, all these handheld devices that allow you to post, you know, whether you want to do it across all platforms. I certainly don't recommend that. Sometimes you can do that, but it's important that you have those handheld devices so that you can stay up to date. Like if you're out somewhere and you're meeting with someone, that you can do, you know, take a photo or take a video. Those things really go a long way. Okay, so we have this great marketing plan that we're putting together, but we're finding that no one is finding us. They're not able to search us. Why is it so important to be searchable across all the platforms that are relevant to your business?
Well, you need to be where your audiences are. And again, in today's marketing environment, your audiences want to be able to find you when they want it,
Right.
how they want it,
Right.
and where they want it. So it's very important to have at least some group of touch points where you can communicate with your prospects and your current customers or your potential employees. And so, you know, another thing that's really important is that search engines love active sites with a lot of fresh content. So we always recommend to our clients, try Googling yourself. And often you will see that your social media profiles show up way higher than your even
right?
well optimized corporate website, because again, if you're a small business
There's
and
more
maybe,
interaction
and
on
also
those.
and especially again, we do with most of our clients are B2B professional services firms. So it's not like there is something happening every single day, every hour on the hour that you can be pushing. So
Right.
you have to find that content. And you know, another important part is that it doesn't always have to be all original content.
Sure.
If you're positioning yourself as an expert and as a thought leader, you might want to supplement content your business generates with carefully curated content. But all of that really helps to keep your site active, to keep your social media profiles active, and to float up in search engines, which, as we know, is very, very important. And not just for consumer products. More and more in B2B professional services, people want to, they look for services online. They might not buy from your website because that's not how it works.
Right.
But they will definitely want to find you and read about you and check you out. And even if your business is mostly by referrals, we hear it all the time. Oh, I don't need to worry about it. We do business by referrals. But the interesting part about social media, website, any kind of online marketing, you really don't know how many people came to your website through referral,
Right.
tried to understand what it is that you do, couldn't, figured out it's not a good fit, and they moved on. And you'll never know how many even warm leads that you possibly lost. So again, being found, and then the second part, once they find you, providing them with the information and the content that's engaging, that's appealing, and that's
Right.
relevant
Right.
is critically
That has
important.
a lot of thought behind it. No, I think that's so critical, you know, with being able to build and sustain a business. You know, if your SEO or your search engine optimization is really low, then that you probably will notice that in your sales. You know, people are not able to search you or find you if you're in business, depending on the type of business that you're in, obviously, and you're not on any social media platform, you are already behind, you know, on the marketing. You may actually find that is, you know, that has some negative effects towards your bottom line. Okay, so let's say you have everything in place, right? And now you have all these great customers like you do. How important are testimonials?
They're very important. Of course, again, for B2B, for B2C, there are Angie's List type websites.
Oh, okay.
They're definitely more relevant to business to consumer, to products or to, you know, home improvement services.
Right.
For business to business, again, professional services, those type of services, industries, testimonials are still critically important. LinkedIn endorsements,
Right.
testimonials that you can include in your proposals, testimonials that you can post on your website, testimonials that you can tie to the case studies that you have on your website in your other materials. But the thing about testimonials, they still have to be very strategic. And I think you should ask for testimonial at the end of, or maybe even a little bit before the end of each client engagement.
How specific can you be in your request?
You have to be specific, you have to find the right time, and you have to be very strategic, because you don't want testimonials that all say, oh, we're so happy. They're great people to work
Right.
with. I mean, it's great, but it doesn't help you to really communicate what's different about you, about your services, about your brand. So your testimonials have to be in direct alignment with what you're trying to say about your competitive differentiators. And that requires very specific requests. And I mean, we find a lot of times you ask for testimonial, people say, give me some talking points. But it's also, you know, being a little bit more proactive. And I think
Right.
people appreciate it. You have to do it in a very tactful way that you're not, it doesn't seem like you're trying to put words in your client's mouth. But you can
Right.
say that, you know, could you please give me a testimonial? And if you're comfortable with it, could you please address, and then really quickly, A, B, C. Maybe you think it was a
Great
great
point.
project that showcased one of your key differentiators, and maybe that's what you want this particular testimonial focused on. Help your clients, because again, they're also, you know, they're doing you a favor, they're taking time out of their busy lives.
Right.
So I think helping them along a little bit will help them, and it will also help you to have the strongest testimonials possible.
Now, last question in this segment. Would you also say that it's important for people to add those testimonials in their proposals, like if they're submitting, you know, to win a contract or just with any, you know, potential client? How important is that to include in your proposal?
Well, so of course, if you're doing some government proposals are
Right.
very, very strict, there is no room. But if you think about it, almost every RFP we get or every request for some sort of engagement, people ask for references.
That's right.
So your testimonials could be the first step in providing those references. You know, in our field, and we recommend to our clients as well, you know, if you include any kind of case study, project history in your proposals, add testimonials
Project
related to that project. So then you're saying, this is what we've done, this is our experience, and by the way, this is what the client on this project
Said
said.
about it.
I think, you know, everybody understands that you're not
powerful.
going to put bad testimonial, and chances are
Right.
you only get testimonials from your happy clients, but so are the references. And you might only have a chance to provide 3 references, but you might be able to also supplement it by 5 more testimonials
Right.
in your proposal, and all of a sudden you have a much stronger representation of what your clients are saying about you.
Wow. Such great content. I mean, I really wish that we could talk about this for, you know, 15, 20 more minutes, but we have to move on. And we're moving on to a very fun segment, and I think that you guys will enjoy it as well, Rapid Fire. She's a little
Right.
nervous about it.
In case you couldn't tell.
Yeah, she was a little nervous,
By
but
me stiffening up.
yes, but she's going to make it through quite well, I believe. So Rapid Fire, the first question. We talked a little bit about it. What song best suits the personality of your business, Substance 151?
I will survive.
I love that. I think that could have been my theme as well, too. Okay. What time of day do you feel most productive?
Naturally, I'm a night person, but since I started my business, I have to be up early, meetings at 7:30, so I think I sort of retrained my natural clock. And I, as much as I hate mornings, I still hate mornings, but I love the time between 7 and 9 a.m. where the phone is not ringing, the email is almost quiet,
gather your
and I can
thoughts.
actually get focus and get stuff done, and I start my day at 9 feeling like I already had something accomplished.
That's great. Coke or Pepsi?
Coffee.
Coffee. So neither. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Okay. What does your ideal day look like?
My ideal work day. When I have an opportunity to do, I'm still hands-on, so I still do some design work whenever I have a chance. I love it when my day includes that. At least some part of the day. I love it when I have, you know, when I practice what I preach and I have a few hours set aside to work on our marketing, on either writing or social media or something that will help us get more clients and
Good,
more ideal
good.
clients.
Great. What animal best describes your company?
I don't know, but we have mascots, cats.
Cats. If you could do, last question, if you could do anything else, what would it be?
I love what I do. I think probably if I didn't have to work for a living, I would probably start a nonprofit.
Great. I would too. Well, excellent. See, you didn't have anything to be nervous about, right? Absolutely. Well, Ida, thank you so much for joining us today. We certainly look forward to all the great things that are ahead for you and your company. You know, there's going to be more great work coming out and awards. Check her out online. To connect with her and Substance 151, go to substance151.com. There you can link to her on all the social media platforms and review some of the great work that she has done. Again, to connect with GOMA, log on to our website, www.goma.maryland.gov, on Twitter at MDGOMA, and on Facebook, search Governor's Office of Minority Affairs. We would love to hear your feedback, so post, tweet using the hashtag Candid Conversations. Clearly, this is our first one, so we're going to be growing from here, but I think it was a great first show. We had a wonderful guest, and we look forward to more to come. Also, while you're on our website, check out the new forecasting tab for recurring contracts for fiscal year 2014. This is a great resource for companies that are looking to do business with the state of Maryland. Thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you right back here on March 12th at 1 p.m., where our guest will be Nicole Parker, owner of the Alotian Group. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one, as you did not want to miss this one. Her amazing story was recently featured in the February issue of Essence in their segment, The Millionaire Mindset. We'll be discussing the art of failing up. It's going to be a great topic. Again, you don't want to miss it. So again, be sure to mark your calendars for March 12th at 1 p.m. and we'll see you next time on Candid Conversations.